We have Fox Weather hurricane specialist Bryan Norcross joining us this morning. Erin hasn't really been able to strengthen significantly, Bryan. Not that we're complaining, but important to note that what happens now is not what we are expecting as it heads further west and closer towards the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's been in somewhat hostile conditions. Both the water under it's been a little cool, lots of dry air as we've been talking about, so that's slowed it down. Just to make a quick mention, that system that they had a half an eye on in the North Atlantic up here is not an issue. And this in the Gulf, folks in the Gulf are talking about this. This is more likely to be a moisture surge for South Texas and the Mexican coast. No big concern there, no sign of it ever developing into anything strong. Could be a depression, 20% chance. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on with Erin. As you were showing there, there's one bundle of thunderstorms blowing up, so that's a sign that it's trying to push the dust out as it speeds along a little bit south of due west. That's because big high pressure up here is strong for now, but it's going to move out of that strong part of the high pressure system into a weaker part, and all systems want to try and turn north. It's something called the beta effect, and it's related to the spinning of the Earth. So once it gets to the weaker high pressure, then it starts that turn to the north, and of course that's what we've been talking about. Here's the close-up, and we can see that it's got a healthy circulation. There's a band here that's kind of wrapping around, and so it's pretty good size. So once it gets to this more conducive atmosphere, then we're going to end up with a pretty big storm. At least that's the thinking right now. And with the thunderstorms flaring up there, that tells you that the atmosphere right around the core of the storm is indeed moistening. And we can see that here when we look at the dust. You can see there's still plenty of dust here, and it's wrapping around the system, so some of that's getting in there, kind of gumming up the works. But look up ahead. The dust is much thinner here. The really thick dust has moved here into the Caribbean. So it's going to move into a thinner dust regime. Still some dry air and dust, but not a lot. It's also going to move here into warmer water really quickly, and over here it gets into a lot warmer water. So just like if you live in Florida, you know that it gets very humid in the summertime because the water offshore is very warm. The wind blows over that, picks up a lot of moisture. So the warmer the water, the more moisture in the air. Same idea here. The warmer the water, the more moisture available for the system to intensify. So that's why one of the big reasons for thinking intensification, besides the atmosphere looks conducive. So here's the National Hurricane Center forecast. You see they have it by tomorrow up to 60 miles an hour, then a hurricane by Friday, and then continuing to intensify now or at a much warmer water, although there's still some dry air there in the atmosphere, which was slow this a little bit. But anyway, they've got a Category 3 hurricane here just to the north of Puerto Rico in that Sunday into Monday timeframe. So Saturday through the weekend, that's the closest approach point for the island. So let's look at that close up. You can see Hurricane Center has 115 mile per hour Category 3 in this whole region here, just to the north, Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and the Northeast Caribbean. Now, obviously, it makes a huge difference whether the system goes right down the middle here or it comes over here. And this is why we can't say that it's not going to be a kind of nasty weekend. But the strongest part of the system is on the right side. So that would be more like fringe effects. The question is how much of a fringe effect, and that just depends on exactly where it ends up there in the cone. Here's a model analysis. If the system is in the center of the cone there you can see the strong gusts coming down into the Northeast Caribbean. You can see if it were to the left side of the cone, the bottom side, those gusts would affect the islands much more. So we're still too close to call. Here we are Sunday afternoon. So this weekend, anyway, everybody in the Northeast Caribbean, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, you need to stay on top of what the exact latest forecast is. Here's the way the models indicated. Notice there's increasing confidence that the center isn't going to affect the islands, but certainly fringe effects of a pretty good-sized storm, and also that it's going to start turning up in here in this Monday time frame. So significantly increased confidence today. This is not going to be any direct impact for the east coast of the U.S. Bermuda, of course, we do need to keep an eye out for them. Okay, there's the forecast area there on Sunday. cold front to the north or a front to the north splits the high pressure system, opens the door to the north in some fashion. How far it swings, we don't know, but likely to the west of Bermuda and the east of the United States. That's the look right now. That means Bermuda may be on the nasty side of this storm. Here are the possibilities from the 4 big models that we're watching now. And there you see where on Tuesday could be. Notice Bermuda has to watch this very closely, but if you've been watching us, this is shifting away from the U.S. coast. And let's go forward in time now. That's Wednesday, and here we are Thursday. Notice there's a big array of possibilities, but only a few right along the coast. But the majority of them are right in here somewhere, well offshore. Well, if the storm is well offshore, how about the effect at the beach? Well, here we are Wednesday, and there you can see we start to get from Long Island on down the coast, impacts here from energy from the storm, high waves, strong currents, rip currents, and so forth. And then we go forward in time. Thursday comes up, starts to affect New England, especially southern New England. This is going to put high surf and beach eroding waves along the coast. And then moving past New England, now we're talking Nova Scotia up here at the end of the week. And the water should start to settle along the East Coast. But this next week could be quite dangerous at the beaches along the coast, and we could see some coastal erosion problems as well. But guys, I think on balance, in terms of the numbers of people affected, the news is good today, and that we're getting this real consensus of the storm now staying offshore, and the ocean effects more on the U.S., although Bermuda and the northeastern Caribbean obviously going to have to watch it closely.
Yeah, and we'll be paying attention to that thing, Bryan, as I know you will too. Speaking, before we let you go, on intensity, obviously seeing this still become a major hurricane, which will happen north of Puerto Rico, we'll have to watch. We often mention how a stronger storm has more of an influence by that Bermuda high. Is there still a solution where the storm does not reach the intensity that the Hurricane Center is forecasting, and could that ultimately affect maybe the track, keeping it a little farther to the south? I know that, as you had mentioned, the majority of models today have shifted farther to the east or the right side of that track.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility of it staying a little weaker, and that's why we see, as we go forward in time, this wider variety of possibilities. But the thing today is that wide variety is all offshore, where we have been seeing a subset, not insignificant subset, actually affect the U.S. More directly. So I think we've got enough maneuvering room today within the models to account for lower intensities and so forth, but still not be a direct hit on the east coast of the U.S. And Bermuda, as we've talked about, is battened down every day of the year. Mm-hmm. So, we'll just have to watch for them.
As Marissa had mentioned, Bermuda is essentially a fortress. How they have fortified that island in order to prepare for these things. All right, well, the one thing, not much that can come good out of hurricane season, but the one good thing about these main development region storms, these Cabo Verde storms, we have a lot of time to watch them and plenty of data to digest. So appreciate it. Always good to hear from you. Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Bryan Norcross. Thanks, Bryan.